Oh shit.
Kick us off, Patty.
Uh, yeah. So I picked Inception because I was threatening it for ages, and Rob wanted me to get out of the way. But no, it was a film that I remember when it first came out. I was like, "Oh, it's from the director that did Dark Knight, so I'll give this a watch." Literally, that was the only reason why I watched it. I never saw a trailer. I saw a poster, and it was a film that sort of I saw twice in the cinema because the first time I watched it, I had no clue what was going on. I loved it, but it's another one of those typical Nolan films where it requires a lot of thought.
You
I
can't
know,
multitask to it, basically.
yeah, you have to watch it.
No other way.
Like, your sole focus has to be on what's on the screen. Like you
Isn't
can't.
that how movies work?
Yeah.
I mean, some people like to play video games or read books or watch porn or whatever while they're watching a film.
Okay.
No, this is one film that your focus can't go anywhere other than what's on the screen. But it's probably my favorite Nolan film. And it was one that I just wanted to revisit again as part of Film Club at some point, and that's why I picked it.
I feel like you prepared some of that beforehand, Pat.
So no, that was just out of the top of my head.
Dear. So, Emmanuel, you gave it all tens, so I feel like you should say something too.
There'll be plenty of chances for me to say something. But yeah, this film came out when I was in uni. I was working in the Hatfield Odeon, and I saw it. I think this is probably the third or second and a half time I've watched it, because I can't remember if I watched it all the way through the second time. But it's one of, if not my favorite film. It's more of a personal thing. There were just so many things about it that struck a chord with me. For example, some of the quotes in the film were things that I used to think myself. I said, do you want to do X, Y, Z, or grow into an old man filled with regret? And I remember it so well. I was like, I was just thinking that. Literally, I used to think that to myself quite often. And I was just like, literally, it's like, it was like they took the quote out of my head and put it in the film. It was quite funny. And then the things about dreams, like I did a lot into dreams in psychology when we studied in A level, and there were certain things they brought up in the kind of, not behind the scenes, but like the extras in terms of extra information behind the making of the film that I knew already in certain cases, like people having, or a famous case that kind of started off a lot of sleep psychology around this guy while he was dreaming. He didn't realize it, but he got up, drove across town, killed his wife's parents.
Oh, wow.
Who were real dicks, and then went back home, found out the news, and he was just like, wait, I wonder if that was me. And eventually he came out, was like, I think that was me, but how could it be? He said,
Jesus.
once you're sleeping, it's like, yeah, I was. But that's why I'm worried. And then they studied his sleep and found other things, and it spawned a lot of other research. And even that kind of thing, it's just part of a little bit of the kind of, not inspiration, but many things around dreams that Nolan wanted to, like, inspired Nolan to do this, because it's one of his passion projects. You probably know that once it got approved, it took him about 8 years to finish writing it.
Oh,
It
really?
reminds me, it reminds me of Breaking the Habit.
Oh, yeah. It just took forever.
I know that's just a song and this is a film, so very different. But whenever something like that creative, it makes me think of Breaking the Habit. But yeah, it's one of these things that there's just so much I like about it. Just all the little things, the big things, how they handled the effects. They did mostly physical effects. So in terms of VFX and stuff, they used probably a quarter of the amount most blockbusters use.
Mm.
So they tried to do much more physical stuff to make it feel better. It wasn't in 3D, and Nolan actually said no to 3D.
Yeah, no, Nolan's not someone that likes to use like top effects, and I know he hates 3D as well.
I see, that makes sense. But yeah, the music, the pacing, the writing, just all of it. And I just like all the moments in the film when things hit, when Fisher, when the Inception plant and Fisher actually says it through his own subconscious what they planted in his mind to do. Because he was going to just take over and carry on. But it really put that seed of doubt. And then I just like all of it basically. It's one of those things. I think it's a personal favorite. I There's nothing I would really change about it because yeah, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
Like all the casting, the actors, and yeah, it's a great fun one.
Yeah, I think like I don't know. There's a lot about it where you kind of you can see that a lot of Christopher Nolan's thought has gone into it, and that it's obviously something that is like quite close to his heart, I suppose. So I think like on a technical level, like just looking at some of the kind of dream landscapes that he's made, like it does look like pretty top notch.
Because I like how it's put together.
What was that?
But I see. Oh, I was just agreeing with you. I like how it's put together. Am I still
Mhm.
lagging?
A little bit, but it's all right.
Yeah.
But I think the one that like I don't know, it always sticks in my mind is the one where they're in. I think it's when um Leonardo DiCaprio and Ellen Page first meet, and it's the one where like the landscape kind of like folds in on itself.
Yeah.
That's always the one that
Mm.
sticks in my mind because it's like, oh man, that's like having that idea and then sort of like realizing it is really cool. There's another film that does a similar scene like that, but I can't remember what it is.
Like Doctor Strange.
I can't
Yeah, it
say.
is Doctor Strange actually.
That's,
Yeah,
they,
it is
they
Doctor
nipped it.
Strange.
They
Yeah,
nipped it away.
yeah.
I don't even remember that.
Yeah, they do something like that, and it's the kind of scenes where they're like it's multi-world, not multi-worlds, like different portals, and the I can't remember Tilda Swinton, whatever. It's kind of showing him how he uses powers and stuff.
Yeah, that's the one.
One of
Yeah,
those scenes.
yeah.
Yeah.
But it's like it's a little bit more. I don't know, a little bit more in depth, I suppose, because like rather than just it sort of folding in on itself, it's kind of it's sort. I don't know. Everything's just kind of shifting. How well? It's hard to explain really. Like it's kind of like it's changing your perception of like which way is the right way round almost.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's also
It's up or
changing
down.
the rules and physics and laws of the world,
Hmm. Yeah.
which do happen in our dreams. So, like, yeah, that is cool. That is a cool part.
Hmm. Yeah.
I always like the first time. I think, yeah, the first time I watched it, I didn't realize they were in a dream either until he was starting to say certain things. I was like, wait a minute, wait, they cut to this scene, but we didn't see them get here. And then he says, you don't often remember the beginning of the dream. So how did you get? It was just like, I see what you did there,
Mm.
and they talk about
I
that in the
was
extras
reading.
as well.
Mm.
Sorry, go back.
I was reading stuff on Reddit, and like a lot of the people on there think that DiCaprio was asleep before the film started, so the entire film was a dream,
It was all a
Is
dream.
it,
which
is it,
is interesting in theory, and I don't necessarily disagree with it.
yeah. The interesting thing, before that, I'll just add in the lucid dreaming. They talk quite a bit about that and how for a lot of people to lucid dream, they need to go to sleep, with the intention of wanting to control their dreams when they go to sleep, kind of thing. But in terms of like, sorry, losing my train of thought. The theories, that was it. I like the way it was written because technically all the theories are true or could be true because he's very ambiguous in parts on purpose so that it could be multiple things depending on what you want it to be.
Yeah, I think that's where I struggle with it a little bit, to be honest, because like the whole ambiguity with the ending, for example. So, I mean, there's different ways to interpret it, really, because I mean, you could say that the totem is actually like his kids or something, and because they've aged, then he's not in a dream, and like there's lots of different ways to read it, but just the idea of a totem for me kind of, I don't know, it spoils a lot of it because for the idea of a totem to work, you need to rely on being able to keep a secret. But for the rest of the film to work, the whole idea is that you can infiltrate someone's dreams and steal their secrets. So they kind of cancel out one another.
Mm, it's very true. And you have moments where some people, like, yes, they might know, no one knows, no one we know anyway knows the weight of other people's totems or the exact feel of them, but they might know the mechanism, like they know that Leonardo's keep spinning, like Ariadne.
Hmm. I
And
think with the idea that like the totem is a spinning top that keeps spinning as well, like to me that seems like super fragile to use as a totem, because all you'd need to do is like make it fall over and then you fall. And it's like I don't know. I find it weird that that's well. I think the reason that they used it is to get that end scene where the totem keeps spinning and you're not sure whether it falls over or not. But like to me, the best totem in the whole film is one that's not even a totem because it's at the start when I think his name's Saito when he's on the rug and he's like, "Oh, this isn't my rug."
Oh
Like
yeah,
that's perfect because that's something that like
that wasn't
like
something. That's just like his memory knowing that this is not real. This is
yeah.
just. I remember this rug, the texture of it. I hated it when I was a kid. What's going on?
Like that's perfect because it's like yeah, I mean it's something that you probably couldn't replicate because it's so like it's such a unique thing. But a spinning top, like I feel like the only reason that they used that was so that you could get the ambiguous ending, and I don't like that.
Okay. Yeah,
Like
I
I'm not really
think
sure what else you could have used to get that ending, but like I said, I don't know. There's just so many so many things with a spinning top where I'm like, nah, this is falling down a bit.
that one of the issues, a small issue for me, is that the fact he shows Ellen Page his term. And I know he doesn't spin it or anything like that, but obviously he has to tell her what the idea of the term is. But he actually quickly shows her his spinning top, and I think that was a small flaw that he should never have shown her what his one was, and she should never have shown him what her one was. Like what was it, the chess piece, or was it the bishop or something?
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
the fact that they both saw it was a problem in the sense that they will stick in the memory of what their totems would look like. So they should have kept both of them secret to themselves.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. As I think, well, firstly, it all comes off a little bit camp because it goes straight from never show anyone your totem to here's my totem. Like that's a little bit jarring. But yeah, I don't know. I just think it's really weird that they would have done it because like if the thing I was thinking is if he's so like forthcoming to show her what his totem is, then surely it's not that difficult to infiltrate his dream, and then he said infiltrate
His genes.
and
His
he said
genes.
infiltrate his genes.
Those genes are safe.
Yeah, like if he's that forthcoming with what his totem is, then surely it's not that difficult to infiltrate his dream and then just have a chat with his subconscious. Like because if it's something that he's obviously not like, it's something that's not out of the question for him. So I'm sure his subconscious wouldn't put up much of a fight either.
Yeah, I think it depends who it is. Also, I was going to say, author probably would like to penetrate that because into her genes. But I think it depends who it was. If it was Ariadne, or maybe someone in the team he really trusted with that, he would be like, oh yeah. But if it was someone he didn't, he's probably him out of multiple, like most people, have probably really trained his subconscious so that if it did get infiltrated, it would be similar to how Fisher's. You would have to have a good team really flew in a lot of it for him to go along with it.
I think that's the thing though, because like in like the line of work that he's in, like I'm sure there would be people who are like very highly skilled trying to trick him into thinking he's dreaming when he's not. So like to rely on being able to keep a secret to know whether you're dreaming or not, and like your whole profession is stealing other people's secrets, it just doesn't really add up to me. Like I think
Reminds me
what I
of
would
being
have
a
liked
hitman.
is like what I would have liked is just like if somebody or if they just showed like some kind of process where he either safeguarded himself against it or somebody tried to do it and it didn't work for some reason. Like that would have been enough for me to go, all right. So like they've given us an example of like why it's not that easy, but they never do. And like there's a lot of little things like that for me as well. Like for example, when they're getting on the plane and they're gonna do like the whole thing on the plane. Like my first thought was, what about turbulence? Like what if the plane drops and you wake up?
Yeah.
And like fair enough, you can say like, oh, it's not that much of a concern because of like multiple things, but like I even if just a character had said like, hang on, what about what about if this happens, like just that little conversation would have just like put me at ease. And so like, there's a lot of little moments like that that I don't get along with.
Yes. Get that.
I guess you the small details, yeah. Like with the plane one, that makes a lot of sense. Like that could have been funny as well. That was like a missed opportunity, I guess. With the what you said before, yeah, the way he does things or his style of doing this film, it obviously that falls into the purposefully ambiguous pile of stuff where he's literally, I feel like he missed out that kind of thing of assuring that Leonardo would not or Cobbs would not be susceptible to this. So he puts a lot of things in doubt and ambiguity. So you're not sure what's real and what's not real. And it's I think even though it's ironic and it doesn't necessarily sit well with everyone, it's kind of the whole fact that, well, it could be a dream, it might not be a dream. Where did it start? Where did it end? Where did reality begin? I mean, do you know? Well, there you go. Make of it what you will. But that doesn't necessarily fit right with everyone. It's not.
And that's the thing. Like I think as an idea, it's really good, and I think a lot of things that the film does are really good. But there's just there's a few of those like problems that are kind of like they're kind of essential to the whole thing. Where I don't know, it raises too much of a problem for me to go like, yeah, it really takes me out of it. Like there's loads of like really small things, but it's just loads of times where like just things seem more elaborate than they need to be, I suppose. So like one of them is near the start where they set Leonardo DiCaprio up. So he's on like a wooden chair next to a bath, and then the kick is him being pushed into the bath, right?
Mhm.
And like at that point, like the only kick that he needed was just to be pushed off his chair. Like you didn't need the bath for any other reason than to teach the audience that a water kick exists. And there's things like that. Like it makes sense from a filmmaking perspective to sort of train the audience on like what the rules are. But
Mm.
in the context of the film, like it doesn't really make sense because they didn't need that yet. And I also think that's a really weird scene because you've got this really elaborate setup for Leonardo DiCaprio, and then Joseph Gordon-Levitt's in an armchair in the corner, and I'm like, but what if he needed to be waking up? Like you'd have to like pull him out of the chair, chuck him in the bath. Like, yeah, it's really strange.
Trying to
think
think in that.
Mhm.
Sorry, carry
Okay.
on.
I think like just listening to sort of your guys' points, I think this is sort of like the beauty of a Christopher Nolan film is there's so much in it, but everyone has sort of a different perspective on it. And I've always sort of felt it'd be great to have sort of like you know how a lot of famous people do like an evening with and they sort of talk about projects that they've done in the past.
Mm.
It'd be really interesting just to sort of be in a room with him and have him talk about his ideas for the actual film and what each bit meant because there are some bits that are still difficult to get your head around like, but I think the whole idea was fantastic.
Yeah, I think as a concept, it's really good. It's just that,
Hmm.
yeah, like I said, like there's just some things in the execution of it where I'm like, no, but that contradicts that bit, and then that's like, and just like a few character things that bother me as well. So like, there's a bit where I can't remember exactly what's going on, but Joseph Gordon-Levitt basically says to Ellen Page like, "Oh, you're great at this. Like you're incredible at what you're doing." And I'm like, "You don't know. You're not allowed to see what she's doing."
Maybe he was just trying to get in her dreams.
Well, he already kissed her, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, I always
In
that
retrospect, he's gay.
what made me laugh was like he'd be talking to her about one thing and then he'd be like the next, give me a kiss.
that line is like it for me in the Matrix. Were you listening to me or were you talking to the lady in the red dress? It's kind of like the oh, I wasn't really this. Oh, it happened already. Oh, I see what you was doing. I see what you did there. It just made me kind of smile.
Yeah, but I think yeah, I think like the kind of the overall reason that sort of I don't like it as much as you guys do is it probably boils down to like I mean like regardless of kind of the problems that I have with the narrative and that kind of thing, I think what it really boils down to is that it's a film that's like all about the idea of the film. Like the characters don't
Mm.
necessarily matter that much; they're just there to teach you the idea.
And you're more about the characters than necessarily the idea.
Yeah, that's the thing. I think if they'd have, well, I suppose the difference for me between like this and something like The Matrix, because they are quite similar setups, sort of like, you know, kind of there's a character in the middle of it all, sort of like questioning their reality and that kind of thing. The difference between it all for me is that I feel like with Neo, I get what's going on in his head and like I get how he's feeling in certain situations, but with this, I get what's going on and I get how it must be like really difficult to deal with, but I don't think I get that from the character. I get it more from the questions that the film makes you ask.
Say that again. You get
I think I get like the difficulties of it, and I get sort of how horrible it must be to sort of be questioning your reality and that kind of thing. But I don't
mm,
think I get that feeling from the character. I think I get it from the questions that the film makes you ask. So like at the end, for example, where you don't know whether he's in a dream or not anymore. Like I started, I mean, I suppose this is a little bit of a problem that I have with the idea as well, I suppose. But at the end, I started thinking like, oh, well, but does it matter if he's in a dream or not? And I started thinking of like what the actual implications are if he is in a dream to if he's awake and all of that. And then I thought, well, actually,
Mm.
if he is in a dream, regardless of how long it feels because of how many levels of dream he's in, he could just wake up one day and it's as if none of that's happened. So I think that kind of like took away from the stakes a little bit for me as well.
Mm, that's an interesting one. Yeah, I was thinking that at the end, regardless of whether he's still dreaming or not, I was thinking that the rest of what we saw was real, and that he's gonna wake up at the end of the plane journey, whether or not that was it or not, and it's still gonna play out because it's almost like that's his dream come true.
Mm,
So it would almost be as if he is living a dream because he didn't think that that would be even possible. He just kept chasing it because he didn't know what else to do with his life.
mm, yeah.
So the whole kind of the kind of thing with it, the wife, I was like, well, we was kind of hinting it earlier. I was like, man, that's messed up because me and Camilla watched it. I mean, she's watched it tons of times.
Mm,
Um, like I was saying that I thought she did need counseling anyway, but they're in a situation where they're in limbo, literally.
mm,
And he's obviously before going into her safe and kind of spinning the top, he's gone. He's tried to convince her to leave, but she didn't want to. He's just like, but I want to see our real kids. I want to raise them and grow up now. We've spent 50 years without them. Like, I miss them. I want to, you know, grow up with them, help them go to school, teach them stuff. We
mm,
can't do anything of that stuff. We've lived our whole lives alone. Let's finish it with our kids. And she didn't want to. So at the time, fair enough, it seemed like a good idea, and I don't blame him, the character, for doing that, going, let me do this as a reminder that this isn't real.
mm,
She goes and checks, and it's just like, oh crap. Oh yeah, okay, this isn't real. Okay, maybe I can give some credence. But then obviously that idea sticks so much that she's just like, what if we're on a different level of the dream and we haven't actually gone straight to back to reality? What if we like, because we've been in limbo so long, we're
mm,
not we're only in maybe the first level of the dream and not actually straight back to the top.
yeah.
If she's just convinced herself that they're still dreaming, I'm just like, man, this is like, oh, man, it sucks.
I think the thing for me as well with that is like all of the dreams that you see are quite like are quite normal, I suppose. Because I'm
Mm.
sort of thinking of the kind of dreams I have, like they're sort of like all over the place and they don't make any sense whatsoever. And I think there would have been more stakes if like I think you would have been more sort of invested in whether the dream was real or whether whether Leonardo DiCaprio's character was awake or whether he was dreaming, if like there was like sort of a danger of things being like really trippy and him like losing his mind over it. Like, have you ever seen Waking Life?
No.
No.
It's a really good film. It's a similar thing, like as somebody sort of going from one dream to another and sort of like meeting people along the way. And the dreams in that are just like they're really like surreal and just like weird. And that to me is like a truer representation of what a dream is. And I think because the dreams in this are so like yeah, like I said, so like logical and reasonable, I suppose, it sort of takes away from the dream feeling. And then also makes me think like, well, is the film about the dreams or is it just a heist movie? And if it's just a heist movie, that takes away a lot from it.
I think I get what you're saying. I think it's just that he wanted to go at it from the different angle of when you're in the dream, it seems really real until you poke at it or realize, or until you wake up and you go, wait a minute, there was that, or the Penrose stairs, or all that kind of stuff. I think he wanted to go at the angle of making it seem real, but also do things where it's obviously not real.
Even like even when I'm in dreams, sometimes like it seems like I always remember years and years ago, I had a dream that I was round Rick's house and I was looking straight at Rick, and every time I blinked, he had a different beard, and like even in that dream, I was kind of going like, "Oh, this is fucking strange."
The only thing I'd say is like, if you compare it to one of your own dreams, and you never fully remember your dreams from the night before. So you only sort of pick bits that sort of spring to mind, so it makes it seem like it's all over the place. But in fact, dreams are supposed to be quite structured according to some research, whatever. And I think where Nolan's gone with this is he's gone from the angle of other people going into other people's dreams, and from you're using your own consciousness in their subconsciousness, and it's more structured to you than it would be for them. And I think that's probably the route he's gone with it, rather than sort of the muffled, crazy dreams that you might remember yourself having, if you get what I mean.
Yeah, no, I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with it, but yeah, like I said, it makes me ask that question of like, is it a film about dreams or is it a heist movie that uses dreams? And I think if it's a heist movie that just uses dreams, it's a little bit less interesting for me, just because I don't know, I'm not big on heist movies anyway. I also think like the reason for this is a little bit weird because it's just like somebody wants to hostile take over somebody else's company.
But Rob, what if the heist film was to steal stuff from the government?
Well, I mean,
you know, you'd love to see the stuff that the Tories stole from us stolen back.
that's more or less what V for Vendetta was going for, to be
Yeah.
Also, technically, it's not a heist film because they're not trying to steal anything from this guy.
They're trying to plant an idea.
So that he actually doesn't become a super corporation.
Hence the name of the film, Inception.
Yeah.
I think that counts as a heist though, because it's
a reverse heist.
Yeah, I mean, like it's a very high concept heist, but
we're not going to steal anything, but we're going to put something in your head so you don't steal from us.
Yeah, I didn't think of it like that. It's kind of funny.
I gotta say, like, I loved the entirety of the cast as well. I think Nolan got it spot on with it.
Yeah, they're all so well cast, right?
I mean, that's the thing though, because none of them to me have like defined characters. I do also think that like you could have cast most actors for a lot.
True, but I think what they've done is they've gotten actors that play the roles probably the strongest. Like you could have got anyone to play sort of Tom Hardy's character, but Tom Hardy is such a strong actor. Like, then like if you put, I don't know who you could put in instead. Well, yeah, okay. We'll go with Idris Elba. Idris Elba plays a certain other type of character, and I don't think it'd quite work in the same way. Like the only characters that I'd say have main strengths are DiCaprio's character, his wife's character, and a little bit with Joseph Gordon-Levitt, but there's not much depth to his past. It's just that he's always been around Cobb, is it?
Yeah, that's
Yeah, Coast.
Yeah.
Interesting kind of thing on the casting, I find. So some of them were always planned that he literally wrote for them in mind. So DiCaprio was the only one, him and his wife, Nolan and his wife, planned on being the lead actor. They didn't want anyone else to be the lead actor. And in turn, DiCaprio kind of helped them develop the film from being more of just about being like a maze into being a character driven, following these people's stories kind of thing. Because at first he wanted to be even more enigmatic and there not to be much story. But DiCaprio was just like, I don't know how as many people are going to follow this. And eventually him and his wife was just like, yeah, you got a point, and it kind of made it more character driven. The Saito, he always wanted him to play Saito, Watanabe. He really liked him as an actor, and back in Dark Batman Begins, he was like, I really want you in another one of my films, basically. I really love your acting, but I couldn't give you enough lines in that. Can you be in another one of my films? Basically. So he became Saito. Joseph Gordon-Levitt, and when he was doing the casting, they told him they didn't have to wear a suit or be smart or anything. But Joseph Gordon-Levitt was just like, oh, just in case, I'll just wear a suit anyway to the auditions. And it was quite funny because afterwards they was just like, we what you're wearing is literally what we would have put the character in. And obviously he's a good actor anyway, so he got the role. One of the only ones that they intended to be, but actually turned down the role was the wife, the mother. They originally had wanted Kate Winslet,
Oh,
really?
but
because Leon DiCaprio.
I'm glad that didn't happen because like they've been in enough together.
Well, I can see why they
probably.
did that.
Oh, you get it then.
Yeah, I get
Okay.
it because well, they have great chemistry together, and they just look like a great couple. So I understand what they were trying to go for, because they've got this like, because they've been in loads of movies together anyway. You've got this like long-term connection. The audience has this connection with the two of them as an item, in a sense.
I get what you mean. Yeah, that makes sense in that way. I'm glad that it was Marion.
Marion
I
Cotillard.
I feel her French background, and I just feel her as a character really suited the role. I remember when I was first watching it, I couldn't imagine anyone else playing that role. I thought she did it just right in her own way.
Yeah, she's great.
But ironically, because she had played Piaf, so the Edith Piaf song, No,
Don't you
to the end. Yeah, so she played. Yes, Camilla singing. So that was all right. So when she played Piaf in La Vie en Rose in 2007.
Yeah, the Vion Rose, yeah.
Yeah, and Christopher Nolan, because he was Nolan. Huh?
I just said I forgot what she did.
Oh, Camilla said she forgot that she played her. But yeah, Nolan, he was very secretive about a lot of it. He didn't want a lot of leaks going out about it, even how he titled some of the things when he was writing it to outside people and describing it. And he was saying that, yeah, this was pure coincidence. And he wanted to change the song that they used for Kick, because he did intend it to originally be the Edith Piaf song. But Hans Zimmer was just like, no, we got to keep the song. He's like, really? No, it works. We're keeping it. Like, okay. But I mean, Hans Zimmer, he probably has a way with him. Even though we're not talking about this, it makes me laugh because, for example, a story about him as a composer anyway, in Dune, there's a lot of sounds where he was basically getting people to scream, or there was like screaming sounds playing all day long for like multiple days. People were getting sick and tired of it, but he was just like, I'm trying to get it perfect. I don't care if you want it to stop, I'm still doing it. So I think it's one of those things. He probably kind of keeps pushing it. It's just like, look, it's going to work, and eventually the director's like, yeah, why not? And then it's just like, you know what, you're right.
Mhm. Do you know yeah. I will say, like, I'm not holding this against the film, and it's a very, very nitpicky thing. So, like, I'm not saying it ruins anything or it's like a massively bad thing, but there's a really small thing that annoys me like a little bit, and it's the runtime of the film is 2 hours 28 because the runtime of that song is 2 minutes 28.
Yeah,
And like on the surface, that's really cool, but they're very specific about how much time slows down, and it's never a 1 minute to 1 hour ratio.
yeah. It's another kind of like reference about that as well. Like, yeah, like you said, they're never really specific. They kind of say roughly at different points, but you don't really know how long it would have taken longer times for different people. But
Yeah, so sorry.
oh, oh, I was just gonna add the cable listings. I assume in America for this film, on some places, I don't know why, but in some places they put the runtime as 2 days, 9 hours, and 14 minutes. It's just like
That's pretty cool.
the approximate time it would have taken if you had watched this film while you were sleeping,
Mm,
kind of thing. In a weird way, like if that was the runtime while you were sleeping, that's technically dream time.
that's pretty
But
cool. But yeah, no, there's one bit where they hello Dan.
Hi.
Oh fuck!
With Alex.
It's Humphrey.
hey, Dan.
He's,
that
he's
work?
still working.
So
Yeah.
basically, what happened was I was gonna be home for 10 o'clock because I went to see my uncle. He's got a longboat in Cambridge. So it
Dan
was
was
like,
asleep.
okay, we fucking was on our way home. My brother, he's decided to go hockey today, and he basically his foot hit the ball, slipped, and
Oh,
he's fucked his knee. So he was in
crap.
A&E 4 o'clock until
Oh, blimey.
yeah.
Oh
So
man.
he'd been in the hospital, so we'd gone and picked him up and then sorted him out. So he had a way of drinking because he's got like the proper full leg not cast strap.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
You know the one that goes just below you, just above your sock line.
Mm.
Yeah, he's got a full leg one.
Oh,
So-
wow.
Can I just say,
Yeah.
considering we've seen Goodfellas, Dan saying that he sorted out his brother made me laugh.
Dealt with him.
Offered him
Yeah,
a stainless
so,
steel delicatessen.
Yeah, that's why I'm like,
I assumed you'd gone to see Coral or something.
no, I'd not see her this week because I was going to see my uncle.
Uncle Humphrey.
Yeah, we got a phone call on the way to because you have to go up the M11
Mm.
near Ely, and yeah, we were on the motorway, and my brother phones up saying, "Oh yeah, I've twisted he's fucked his knee up," and we're like 2/3 of the way there. But yeah, that's fun. But yeah, he's done a number. His hockey playing days are over now.
Oh, really?
Finally,
Oh, wow.
he's hurt himself so many times doing it, but now this is like there's potential surgery involved.
Oh,
So,
shit.
I can't remember what they said. It's like, but from what he said, was his knee twisted. He felt it actually twist,
Oh.
and
He's done anterior knee ligament probably.
I think that's what it was. It might have been the cartilage in his knee as well.
Ugh.
But basically,
Yeah.
he's fucked. Basically.
His age, it's just no coming back now, isn't it?
No, he did say that. That's probably he's not playing hockey again.
Oh, man.
Which
That's
in
rough.
some ways is good. But, yeah.
And you sound really happy.
Well, it's just he's I think he his foot before last time he played hockey. It twisted something, and he was like, oh, but then he went and played it, and they didn't even need him, which is even more insulting. They had 14 people, and he's like, "Well, the fuck do you need me?" And then 10 minutes on the pitch, treads on
Oh,
the
wow.
ball, slips. Yes, so
Man,
great
sorry,
film.
man.
Goodbye, guys. No. But yeah, so that's great. Yeah, Patception. I've got to say, watching it again, from what I remember, it was a good film, but this time it didn't have the same, like, wow, this is amazing, because once you see the special effects in it, you're like, that's really good, and then it's just kind of it's really good.
Yeah, I do think the production is the best part of it.
Yeah.
Like, that's the only bit for me that's like, yeah, like that's flawless kind of thing.
I'll take that.
Yeah, 'cause
across the board.
like the fact that when it kind of goes over, and I was looking at the seam lines, and there's a bit where you can actually see where the buildings cross over.
Mm.
But it's so well done. Like even the bit where they're fighting in the hallway, they actually did it for real, which is really cool.
Mm.
Wonder did they use real guns? Since this is a topic of conversation recently.
Oh God, bringing that up.
Real guns.
You must be afraid to dream a little bigger.
Oh, man, when people watch this back, they're gonna be like, "What the fuck has he just done?"
Oh, it's just imploded, the internet. But, I don't know. The thing is, I don't. Do they? Well, they must have used real guns, but the blanks are always going to be dangerous because it's still, instead of having a bullet, you've just got an explosive with a wadding. I think that's what it is. So when they shoot it, it just makes the same kind of look. So it'll fire the flame out of the gun, but it just hasn't got a bullet. But what's the film where he shoots him in the? Is it the eye or the ear?
Ugh.
What film is it? And he's got the blanks, and he shoots him.
Oh, in Bruges.
That's it. And he's got the blanks in the gun, and he shoots it next to his ear, and it still deafens him. It's
I think they thought at first that the problem was that they didn't clear the barrel out. So when the blank went off, it could have shot something that was already in the barrel out, and then that sort of acted as a bullet. But I think what it actually was whoever loaded the gun loaded it with real bullets.
What?
Apparently, yeah.
The fuck?
Sorry, are you talking about the tragic accident that happened?
Yeah.
I wasn't keeping up with that. That was messed up.
Yeah. I think I think what it turned out to be was that it was something. I don't think it was on purpose, but at some point or another, the gun was used as a real gun, because obviously it is a real gun. It's just that the ammunition that would have been blank. But and I think whoever loaded it didn't take the bullets out from when it was used before.
Oh, was it a bit like in between takes? They was like, "Oh, we're going to shoot a real gun at something like Americans do."
But I think it was like just used on like a shooting range or something, but they didn't take the bullets out from when they used it there.
Yeah, that's what I mean. It's like they've
man.
gone, no, we want to shoot on the shooting range, and then some dipshit's gone, not bothered changing it. And so, how did she actually? How did it actually happen? But was they like playing around with it or something, and he accidentally discharged it? Or
no, it was the actual scene. So they were filming the scene, and she was just stood in an unfortunate place, not expecting there to be anything wrong with it, because she thought there was blanks in the gun.
Oh, man.
I think it sounds like, from what you said, and I think it's what I heard before as well. It sounds like where they got the guns, like you said, it was used for shooting real bullets before, but this particular gun it wasn't checked properly by the people
Mm.
responsible for actually using it for that. And at one point or whatever, like you said, there was still a bullet, a real one left in,
Mm.
and then they loaded it with the blanks and that's back. Oh,
It is pretty crazy. Like, I mean, it's one of those things, isn't it? Like in sort of 2021, for it just to be like a muzzle flash that you need, you can quite easily do that with CGI. So it's,
Mm.
yeah.
I think that was something
yeah.
that The Rock was talking about when he was asked about the use of guns on the set, and then he said, like, we've got good enough sort of technology now to sort of edit it that it makes it look like a real gun, and we can just use a rubber gun as an effect.
Well, you don't even have to do that. You can use airsoft guns
Mm.
because because I had a little I've played like airsoft once. It was some birthday, but you can get guns that look literally the same. The only
Yeah.
reason you have different color ones is because if you don't have a license, you can get say a replica one, but it's like blue plastic or it's a blue color, so it looks like. But when I went airsoft, people had guns, and you would have thought they had the real thing. And they've even got gas powered ones that actually do the action. So when you
Yeah.
trigger, that actually does the slide.
Hmm.
So it looks like the real thing. It fires like the real thing, but it's just BBs.
Yeah.
And then you can do the muzzle flashes and.
I think it's I get what you mean. Like both of to be honest, that in itself is a health hazard itself. Health and safety hazard, to be honest. And the best way to really do it, because at the end of the day, it's a film. The best way is to, if they've never fired a gun in their life, take the actors who are going to fire the rubber gun. I say fire, act like they're going to fire a rubber gun to real firing range and get the feel of it, because they have to imitate it. They have to imitate the recoil and know what it feels like in that muscle shaking and be able to replicate that when they use a rubber gun. That just means the actors have to put in a little more work, and then you put the CG in afterwards, and it's completely safe.
Yeah.
But I feel like there's some people are still probably, we want this to be more realistic or this or that, so we're doing this on set. But you have to use some kind of just. I'm preaching to the choir. I don't need to say anything. You guys understand.
But it's surprising it hasn't happened before, because the amount of action films that have got guns in.
It's happened
No,
a
I
few
think it
times. To be
has.
fair.
Yeah,
That's how Brandon Lee died during The Crow as well, isn't it?
yeah,
Oh,
it
yeah,
was.
yeah. So it has.
Yeah, I'm surprised nothing happened on was it The Exorcist or a different film where they just shot a gun in the
Yeah.
air on set?
Yeah, as The Exorcist, William Friedkin shot a blanket at an actor so that he'd look scared.
It's just like, what kind of crap? Yeah, saying that, like, I'm surprised, not surprised. I'm glad nothing happened to Joseph Gordon-Levitt because he did, except one of his stunts, he did all of his stunts himself.
Oh, did he?
Yeah.
He's
And
in the. I was just going to say he's in the Tom Cruise School of Acting.
not as extreme as him, I guess, but yeah. Oh my goodness, Tom Cruise.
The best one's the one where he hang out the aeroplane. Like he's just that. He's just crazy.
He has injured himself as well. It's just like, this is why you have like stunt doubles, because I get that. The thing is, they want to live vicariously through their characters and really want to do those stunts. So the people who want to do their own stunts, it's not to make it look better, because a lot of the time you're seeing angles of them where it might not even be them.
Mm.
Yeah.
It's just like if it's a dangerous stunt, like I don't know how dangerous some of the stunts was with Joseph Gordon-Levitt. I think most of it was wire type work and stuff, so it probably was safe enough. But obviously, Tom Cruise would be doing stuff just like you could actually die. You twisted your ankle in this one. You did this to yourself in this one. You this. He finds it thrilling. Obviously, he's a thrill seeker. So,
Well, talking about Tom Cruise for a sec, like he does pretty much 95% of his own stunts, and there was a scene in one of the more recent Mission Impossibles.
Break single?
Yeah, so he's jumping between rooftops, and you can actually see the scene where he's hit the top of the building, and you can see his foot or his ankle go.
Yeah, that was.
They've tried to edit it out as much as possible because obviously people go looking for little bits to get their fame online. But you can actually see the impact and the break from there as well.
Because he was on the Graham Norton show once when the thing was coming out, and they said about it, and they showed you it, but they slowed it down or they stopped it where it happens. But in the film, when you see him do it, he runs across the roof. He runs off. His foot hits flat against the side, and then it just pushes straight up. You see his foot go flat, and then he runs it off. Right, he just continues.
But the thing is, like, that's happened, and he's still doing his own stunts. He's like, accidents happen. Let's do it again.
He carried on the scene.
Yeah, I know.
That's the fucking mental thing about it.
He got up and stuck to walk. Yeah.
He took 2 weeks off to get his ankle sorted, and he was back doing it in a brace. Man's not right in the head.
He's a thrill seeker.
He's a nutcase.
But the thing is, he's a fit person, so he can get away with it.
Go on, Dan.
Your mum would say he's fit. But no, I mean, like his physical condition is in the point where he can go, I broke my ankle. I'm just going to carry on. Like most people will be like, I'm out of work for 6 months. I can't move.
I mean, even an athlete, that's not great. But I get what you're saying. One question before we go back to Inception. Sorry, I can't remember which film it was in, but the film where Brad Pitt, like, he injured his arm.
Oh, 7.
Oh,
it was 7. Okay, I was thinking, is it 7? Was that just an accident? Because I know they played it out in the film, which I'm glad it was. It was cool how they did that. But was that a stunt, or was that just an accident?
Yeah, no, it was an accident, and then they basically just made it part of his character that he had a dodgy arm because he had to wear a cast.
There's a bit
that
where
was
he falls
it.
on a dumpster, doesn't he? He falls out the thing, falls on the dumpster, and he gets up, and he's all like, "Oh!" But didn't he get hit by a door or something?
I think he punched through a window, and it like fucked his arm up.
Yeah, but they got him. I swear they had a car kind of hit him a little bit as well in the film.
Maybe.
Or was it just a dumpster
Maybe.
thing?
I think because you see him fall out and he smashes the dumpster, and then he's just like, oh, and he's like limping. But then he's got his arm in the cast. But there's
they played it that way.
Who's Kiefer Sutherland's dad?
Oh, Donald Sutherland.
There's a film where he's in, and it's like a thriller or something, and he's on like a scaffolding. It's like a basket thing that he's climbed up, and they reckon that he had to do the stunt for real. Like there was no one that, because of whatever, I think it was budgetary restraints, they couldn't get someone into body double him. So you see in the film when he's holding on for dear life, and it's actually for real, and he could have died if it had dropped.
Yeah, that's Don't Look Now.
That's it.
Alex's favourite.
Yeah. Literally every bit in the scene where you see him holding on and he's like falling off or something, and he's still holding on, dangling. It's all legit. Like he could have fucking died, and it's like, nah.
That's a whole nother mean to dying for your craft, but that would be a pointless. Like you shouldn't like the whole craft, the whole art of film is to make something look perilous, but actually, in fact, not be perilous at all. Just kind of like how I'm trying to think, was it in that film? In the Batman, was it Batman, the Dark Knight film? There's a scene where the stunt double is doing some work jumping off the roof or something. But at the end of the day, the way they have it set up, he's no matter what happens, he's always going to fall into a net, regardless. Or in some films where they use trickery of height mixed with certain CG and different things, so that even if there is a fall, it's not going to be much or anything. Or there's a mat, or there's this, or there's that. It's just like, why are you going to make the risk? Because it will risk your actors' safety or life like that when you could just use some kind of film trick and it creates the same effect on the audience.
But
Well,
I
I've
don't
nearly
get
had a
that.
heart attack.
What?
What happened?
I turned my chair and it knocked my PlayStation off the cabinet.
Oh my goodness.
So I have it on now, just making sure that it's not broke.
Oh my
Oh,
goodness.
man.
Yeah, my PS5. So I'm gonna have to sit further back now.
That's one way to throw your money away.
Is it vertical, Pat?
You could probably tell from how nervous I was looking for the last couple of minutes.
I did wonder what was wrong, but
Is it
That's all of a
vertical,
sudden I
Pat?
heard a crash, and I was like, "What? Oh fuck!"
Yeah, I won't be doing that.
Pat, is it vertical?
Yes.
Maybe you need to rethink your setup. Just
Yeah,
saying.
don't put it on the
I
side of a
can't
fucking
actually put it lying down because I've got a room.
don't put it on the side of a fucking table. That's one.
Maybe
To
put
be
it
fair,
on the floor.
it's pretty far in. I don't know how I've ended up knocking it off.
She said.
Hey, you knocked it off.
But
Okay,
yeah,
cool.
it's all good. FIFA's working at least. So
Oh, that's a shame.
not that football's kind of my thing at the minute.
Oh, there we go.
to be fair,
Yeah,
did you
sorry.
see the Man United score today, Dan?
Oh no.
They lost 4-1 to Watford.
Oh, oh. Are they just that off today or something?
Back it for about 3 months.
I saw an interview with
man.
I saw an interview with David De Gea, and he was just like, "Yeah, that was embarrassing for me."
Oh wait,
He-
sorry because I don't keep up. I don't keep up as much, and I rarely I confuse it. But are Man United the ones? Was it like a year or two ago who almost got relegated?
No, that'll be this year.
Oh,
I would love it if
Oh.
Man United got relegated. I really would. Sorry, Pat,
Oh.
but I'd celebrate.
Well, I think Ole's getting sacked in the next day or two. Just judging from stuff I've been reading,
To be fair, people have been saying that for months now.
it's quite strong now.
You'd think so, wouldn't you? But
Yeah.
I would be
Time to
surprised.
go.
Oh man, that's so. Anyway, that's a whole nother
Back to
conversation.
Inception because I don't want to really be feeling depressed tonight.